Alright, now let's make some basic sculpts. To do that, I need to bring my PureRef project to the scene and zoom all the way and close to the horse. So let's move that over here and keep that there. Maybe make it a square. All right. Now let's start by filling these gaps. To fill the gaps, we have something called fill brush here inside Voxel Tools. Those are ClayEngine, almost like a real life clay brushes. We have extruder. Let me test some of them or demonstrate. And maybe soft clay and other clay brushes, maybe flatten voxel. All right, I'm not gonna use all of them. From the ClayEngine, I usually use the usual clay, and from the Voxel Tools, most of the time the scraps and feel smooth, and yeah, I guess that's it. All right, let's try the feel and fill these gaps. As you can see, it's gonna fill that nicely. So don't worry about the copying the other side in the or maybe not. Let's enable the symmetry, because I'm not ready to on the second thought, yeah, let's go back all the way and close the symmetry and get rid of this ugly plan. So start filling the gaps. All right, and yeah, that's good. Let's use the usual clay and add some brushes and some strokes. Maybe these muscles. For the muscles, let me first of all hold shift and smooth those areas. For the muscles, we have a actual muscle brush. So let's go and use that for this bumpy muscles. Inside the objects, let's go all the way down above the cloth and use tube/muscle. All right, now we have several options to make the shape. As you can see, I'm gonna choose the default and start making muscles. And also, as you can see, it's going to be combined to the previous mesh or boolean to the previous mesh. So it's almost like I'm adding Cli to the mesh. Right now, with the scrap tool all the way to the top, or space, and here scrap that muscles out, hold right click and push that to the bottom to change the brush intensity. Oh, that's too much. Maybe hold shift and smooth them together. Yeah, something like that. And it's not bad. Let's go and choose the usual Cli, the leg, add Cli, and make the bigger shapes. Shift and smooth. This is not the final shape. This is just adding Cli and make the big shapes. So don't worry about the mess around. Maybe in face here, smooth. Right, a little bit here. The smaller brush. Let's make the jaw. And this big muscle up here. All right, let's switch back to scrap and scrap this part a little bit. Usual Cli, maybe a little bit more. At the but so it's nice. I forgot to save the actual project. Right, so let's go to the file and save as project file 01 and save that bad boy up. All right, now let's go with the middle with the usual Cli. Little bit of sculpt here. And yeah, not that bad. Maybe a little bit more meat down here. And with this scrap. Alright. Now hit S, activate the symmetry. Just hit one time in this part, in this side of the model, and use the symmetrical copy. All right, now we have the both sides. All right, in front view, let's make the mouth a little bit wider by using move brush. See from top view, this part needs to push in a little bit, this part out. Also hands. And let's compare that to the actual reference image. Yeah, not bad. Not that off. Maybe a little bit here. And here. Right, nice. Now let's change the actual shader. We have some shaders by default enabled for us up here in the this quick access bar. Hover over the shaders, and if I change the shaders, as you can see, without any UV and any actual workable mesh, we have the ability to add shaders. I'm using the Cly by default. It's really close to the actual concept. So yeah, that's good. S and disable the symmetry. Let me hit 5 on my numpad to go to the perspective view. All right, now let's change the lighting scenario for this scene by going to the same camera icon, background, and choose environment map HDRI. So let's choose that. I'm using the some of the HDR Haven HDRs, or maybe this time let's use Substance 3D Painter default HDRs. Maybe this one. Open that up. It's gonna change the background as well. So let's go background and choose background image. By default, the background image inside the preferences viewport, it's located inside the let's see, software directory. Maybe, I'm not sure. Textures. Yeah, background image. So that's program file, 3D code, data, textures, and background image. All right, let's use that. Hold Shift and in the empty place of the canvas, by holding left click and moving the mouse, and can adjust the light. All right, let's make this box down here the base. So let's hit 5 the numpad to go to the orthographic. Let's create a empty layer. As you know, it's gonna inherit the subdivision level. Let's double click and change that to base. Select the right layer, and I to bring back the reference image, and U for the actual reference. Let's go and add a primitive. Hit a space, select the primitives, and this time let's use a cube. Move the cube down. My reference image is in perspective, so I need to make that based on this edge. So let's move that at the middle. Use this scale handles to make that bigger, maybe a little bit taller. Now let's rotate front, and let me guess how much depth we need. Maybe a little bit more here, maybe even thicker, and push down. All right, now it's not committed to the layer, as you know, so select the right layer, or maybe new layer. Make sure it sets to add and hit apply. All right, let's switch to usual Kalai now. This time scrap, and let's add some we enable the symmetry first, S and X symmetry, and let's add some sculpts to the edge of the base, maybe with the voxel flatten. Switch between usual Kalai, add some Kalai, then use the voxel flatten. Or even scrap. Right, let's choose the same shader for this one as well. Yeah, that's good. Hit 5 to go to the perspectives, check the silhouette of the actual model, and save. Let me quickly go to the rendering. We not talked about the render room yet, but you can check your model in the actual rendering scenario with the light by going to the render room and do nothing. Let's that to be clear. Let's that to get clear and see the result. Maybe exposure. It's called 120%. And yeah, that's good. So let's continue in the next part by adding or making the base mesh for the girl. So see you in next part.